Opened up at 11 to 8, slightly uneasy favourite. Knight Templar at 4 to 1. Money for Major Bell from 5s to 4s. 7 for Lord of the West, 8 to 1 Profluent, and 10 to 1 Call It a Day. As they step away for this, the Velka Pardubicka Grimthorpe Handicap chase, maintaining links between Doncaster and the home of the infamous Czechoslovakian chase, the Pardubicka, as they run towards the first fence, the first of 19. With Knight Templar in the noseband, just about the first to rise there from Major Bell, and Lord of the West, the giant Lord of the West in the yellow jacket with the black hoop, the Arkle colours, the colours of Anne, Duchess of Westminster, in third place. Then Call It a Day on the outside of Merry Path and Profluent, just about the back marker. A left-hand turn towards 3 fences. Plain, an open ditch and another plain fence, and Knight Templar in the sheepskin noseband, returning from a bit of a layoff here for the Paul Nicholls team. Just leads Major Bell with Lord of the West and Call It a Day. So rise over this. Good jump by Merry Path on the inside of Call It a Day, and finally Profluent. Now an open ditch, and Knight Templar himself right at it from Major Bell. Merry Path, the youngest horse in the race, 6-year-old, racing with head bowed low. Out wide is Lord of the West as they approach this next plain one. And again, Knight Templar and Major Bell take it together. Lord of the West in third, as Jim was saying, a bit lacklustre so far this season, but could well be galvanised on a return visit here to Doncaster, a track that he likes well. Back in the field, Merry Path, Profluent on the inside, and Call It a Day. Merry Path went off the 7 to 4 favourite at starting, with the leader Knight Templar at 4 to 1. Down towards the next plain fence in the straight. Knight Templar just took a bit of a chance at that. Reach for it slightly. Lord of the West on his outside left. On the right is Major Bell. Then in the pink cap, Merry Path, Profluent, and finally Call It a Day. Call It a Day, the winner of the 1998 Whitbread Gold Cup. Of course, it invariably comes to hand in the spring. Always good with the daffodils, and he looks better today, actually, than he has done so far this season, Call It a Day. They take this next fence. That was the fence that Graham Lee departed in an earlier race from Anna Branch. Graham's all right. He's taking a bit of a break, but he may well be riding later in the afternoon. Knight Templar leads them past the judge with a circuit to go then in this Velka Pardubicka Grimthorpe Handicap chase, from Lord of the West on his outside, and Major Bell hugging the rail and getting interested now, almost a line of 3 as they enter the back straight. Merry Path just lobbing along in 4th place from Profluent, and finally Call It a Day. Call It a Day, it could well be back on the Grand National Trail if he puts up a good show today. He was 3rd to Bobby Joe in the Liverpool showpiece last spring. On now towards the next. Fence number 10 that was. Merry Path just a little awkward in 4th place. And it's still Knight Templar in the noseband. Out left, out wide is Lord of the West. Landing in 3rd was Major Bell. Merry Path improving on their heels. Reminders now for Major Bell. A couple of liveners from Tony Dobbin. Call It a Day likewise under Adrian Maguire. Got a sharpener there as well, as perhaps the pace increases a little back past their starting point. A slight rise in the run to Rose Hill. And Knight Templar and Lord of the West take this together from Major Bell. But Jim, Merry Path, the favourite, seems to be going very well in 4th.
Yeah, he's cantering over them. David Casey keeps taking a pull. He's an inexperienced horse, doesn't want him in front too soon. And so far we've seen no errors from him, which hasn't been the case in his earlier races. The other 3 in front, 3 ahead of him, look to be feeling the pinch of it. They're all being niggled along, but that said, they all stay particularly well. And we'll see how they're going in half a mile's time or so.
They've got 7 fences left to jump. Lord of the West on the outside of Knight Templar. Merry Path cruising on the outside next of old Major Bell as they rise over that plain fence. An open ditch is next. again on the long left-hand turn, and they've left Call It a Day a long way adrift, and Profluent hasn't gone at all. He's a totally unpredictable character, isn't he? As they jump the next open ditch, and Knight Templar on the inside of Lord of the West. Merry Path looks poised to pounce. Major Bell gets more reminders as they run towards the fifth last. There's Call It a Day out the back, just hasn't been able to show any speed at all as they land over that plain fence and make their way towards the home straight, where 4 obstacles await them. And Knight Templar has made most of the running from Lord of the West, bustled along now, the giant horse on the outside. Merry Path looks as though he's about to join in the blue jacket, pink cap, colours once worn by the smart hurdler Large Action, as they jump 4 out. And Merry Path just a little bit difficult at that. Major Bell back in 4th under pressure, and Lord of the West with a giant raking stride comes to take Knight Templar as they run down towards the 3rd last. Merry Path still going well in 3rd, over 3 out. Lord of the West and Knight Templar. Merry Path is jumping, just falling apart a little bit now, and now the whip is shown him as they run down towards the 2nd last. Knight Templar, Lord of the West in the centre. Merry Path trying to gather them in. They're well clear of Major Bell, over 2 out. Knight Templar back in front from Lord of the West. Major Path now being asked some very serious questions back in 3rd, and not too many answers forthcoming. Up front, Knight Templar. Lord of the West renewing his challenge, switch to the far side, but Knight Templar has 2 lengths, put himself right over the last. Lord of the West looks a bit tired, and now Merry Path goes 2nd, but will have to fly to catch the leader. Knight Templar in the hands of Barry Fenton, driving this one home. Merry Path is gaining inside the final 50, but Knight Templar is honest and game enough to win. In 2nd place, Merry Path, who jumped raggedly in the closing stages. 3rd then Lord of the West. They're a long way clear of Major Bell. Call It a Day, well, it might be time to call it a day with him. He showed precious little sparkle there, and Profluent was last of the 6 runners. A game display this by Knight Templar in the colours of Robert Ogden, trained by Paul Nicholls, well trained by him, returning from a more than 100-day absence. This 7-year-old Barry Fenton handled him well, had him up with the pace all the way, headed briefly by Lord of the West halfway up the straight, but he kept going. Favourite Lord of the West in 3rd at 7-1.